He was a retired spy. But on that day, an innocent woman pleaded him for his help, but it alarmed Russian Mafia and they kidnapped his daughter. Right then, he realized the lies involved in the case have risked his family's life. So, he decided to silence the Russian Mafia on that bloody evening. Welcome back to Paramount Recaps. I don't have many subscribers, but your single comment is a ray of hope to motivate me. The movie kicks off in an old, deserted bus station somewhere in Ukraine. A woman, known only as Red Star, heads to a particular location. Martin Baxter, who's been lying low inside a nearby bus, spots her arrival and immediately sends a signal to someone. As Red Star walks up to a parked car to hand over some bank account info, Martin senses something's off. His instincts prove right when, out of nowhere, someone opens fire on Red Star, sparking a wild shootout. Without missing a beat, Martin takes down the first shooter and goes after the second, who's trying to make off with Red Star's bag. A high-speed chase ensues, with Martin eventually catching up and eliminating the guy. He grabs the bag and hurries back to check on Red Star, only to find out she's been taken hostage by another man. This new threat demands a trade, using Red Star's life as leverage. Martin tosses the bag his way, but manages to shoot him at the same time, hoping to save Red Star. But this whole ordeal isn't just happening in real time. It's actually a recurring nightmare Martin's been having. It's based on a mission he was involved in 12 years ago in Ukraine while working for MI6. Snapping back to the present, Martin wakes up in a car in London, waiting for his daughter, Lisa. It's clear he's troubled, still haunted by his past. When he's not battling his demons, he spends time at underground cage fights, where he often places bets. He even gets Lisa involved, handing her money to place a bet on him as he enters the ring. As the fight starts, Lisa anxiously watches, trying to coach him from the sidelines. Martin seems out of it, taking a brutal kick to the face and nearly going down for the count. But he pushes through, only to be knocked out cold by a powerful blow. The fight's over, and he loses. Afterward, a guy approaches Lisa, handing her the cash she won from betting against her dad. Martin's not thrilled to find out his daughter had little faith in him, but she defends herself, pointing out that his focus has been slipping lately. The next day, Martin decides it's time to teach Lisa how to handle a gun. They have a heart-to-heart, where Lisa expresses her desire to settle down, go to school, and pursue a career in writing or painting. But Martin, ever the realist, shuts her down, insisting that their lifestyle doesn't allow for such dreams. He wants to prepare her for the harsh realities of life, making sure she can fend for herself if necessary. One evening, Martin heads out to work, leaving Lisa at home. He works as a bouncer at a nightclub, but he's got a short fuse, often losing control and roughing up the patrons. While on duty, he crosses paths with a woman named Sasha, who hints that they need to have a serious conversation. Before they can talk, though, armed men storm the club. Martin notices Sasha's ID and realizes he knows her, so he quickly moves to get her out of danger. They manage to escape the gunman, but Sasha takes off without saying a word, leaving Martin puzzled. Concerned, Martin rushes home, armed with a baseball bat, ready for anything. He checks on Lisa, who's fast asleep, and then heads to the kitchen, where he's confronted by an old acquaintance, Trevor, and an MI6 agent. Trevor's got bad news. He needs Martin's help finding some important files Sasha mentioned, but warns that the Russians are after them too and won't hesitate to kill them. Lisa, who overheard the conversation, is shocked when Trevor reveals that finding these files could uncover the truth about her mother's death. She always thought her mom died in a car accident, but Trevor drops the bomb that her mother was killed on a mission. Lisa, devastated by the news, retreats to her room in tears. Trevor leaves, urging Martin to consider his offer. Martin tries to comfort his daughter, but she's too upset, feeling betrayed by his lies. Unable to sleep, Martin decides to take Trevor up on his offer the next day. But before he can make a move, Lisa refuses to stay behind. Martin argues, but eventually gives in. As Martin loads their bags into the car, he's blindsided by a man who knocks him out. When he comes to, he's facing Tatiana, a ruthless KGB agent working with the Russians. She doesn't waste any time, threatening Martin's daughter if he doesn't deliver the files and Sasha within 24 hours. With no other option, Martin is released and heads home, but he's followed by the MI6 agent. Frustrated, Martin pulls a gun on the agent, warning him to back off. Desperate to find Sasha, Martin tracks down a guy named Max, who might know where she is. Max is reluctant to talk, but Martin isn't playing games. He pulls out his gun, demanding answers. When Max's security steps in, Martin takes them all out, leaving a trail of bodies as he escapes. Meanwhile, Lisa and Tatiana are at a boxing match in a hotel, with Martin racing against the clock. Using Max's phone, Martin tracks Sasha to a hotel. He convinces her that he's there to help, and she reveals that the files thereafter contain secrets about developing a dangerous chemical weapon. The files are locked in a bank vault, and she needs Martin's help to crack the code. They visit a rundown building where a hacker, secretly working for the CIA, operates. Martin forces the hacker to dig up files from the Red Star operation 12 years ago, hoping to find the key they need. Just as the hacker uncovers some photos showing Red Star holding a yellow piece of paper with a bank deposit code, Sasha warns Martin that armed men are closing it. Trevor and his team arrive, just as Martin orders the hacker to show him the emergency exit. Trevor tries to reach out to Martin, but Martin's already made his escape with the hacker. Soon, he finds himself in a scuffle with two of Trevor's goons, leading to an intense fight. Just when things seem like they can't get worse, Trevor and his crew show up. In the chaos, Martin backs up and ends up tumbling out of a window, taking one of the henchmen with him. He jumps into Sasha's car, and they hit the road as quickly as they can. With the CIA and MI6 hot on their trail, they duck into a rundown building for cover. Martin tries to crack a code that could help them out, but he realizes the encryption has been updated. As he's figuring things out, he spots Trevor and his crew approaching. At first, Martin thinks about giving up, but Sasha pulls a wild card. She puts a gun to her own head, claiming she's the only one who knows how to access the bank's secret files. This shocking move gets Trevor to order his men to lower their weapons, giving Martin and Sasha the chance to make a run. Later on, the hacker tells Trevor that Martin was trying to swipe the code, but didn't manage to pull it off. Despite Trevor's best efforts, Martin and Sasha manage to slip away, but Trevor's guys are still on the hunt. The pair soon find themselves at an airport, and in a desperate move, Martin snatches a woman's passport and hands it to Sasha. They hope this will throw off any tracking from the hacker, but Trevor isn't letting up. He orders the hackers to pull footage from security cameras at all the airports in the city. Tatiana then contacts Martin, reminding him that time is running out. He tells her he's headed to Ukraine with Sasha to retrieve the files and needs a bit more time. Trevor catches wind of Martin's destination being Kyiv and instructs the hacker to alert their agents in Ukraine to keep an eye on it. Meanwhile, Lisa is still talking to Tatiana, learning the truth about her mother's death being connected to a mission gone wrong. The next day, Tatiana and Lisa board a flight to Kyiv. Tatiana updates Martin that she has checked into the hotel. Meanwhile, Martin and Sasha jump into a car, but they quickly find themselves being chased. Once they reach the bank, Sasha goes in to collect her belongings from her personal storage unit. A bank employee guides her to the storage area, while Martin waits outside. Just then, Trevor and his team burst into the bank. Martin manages to take out a security guard and triggers the emergency alarm. Trevor, now trapped in the storage area, faces Martin, who has a gun drawn and demands he enter the code. Knowing Trevor has the information, Martin and Sasha take control of the deposit box, effectively holding Trevor hostage. Martin gets aggressive, knocks Trevor out cold, heading up to the roof of the bank. They manage to jump into their car and speed away, but the police are right on their tails. They find a place to hide, and in a shocking twist, Sasha suddenly points Martin's gun at him, revealing that she believes he's been working with the Russians. In the heat of the moment, she shoots him in the shoulder and makes a getaway, leaving Martin unconscious. When he comes to, Martin sees Tatiana calling him. He tells her he has the files with Sasha, and she instructs him to bring them that night. Martin then calls Trevor, asking for his help to track down Sasha's case and rescue his daughter. However, their conversation is abruptly cut off when Martin leaves the phone behind to head to the car rental business. Once he figures out where Sasha is, he races over to the train station, finds her, and starts chasing her down. In the struggle, Martin ends up choking Sasha out and throws her in the car. As night falls, he goes to the meeting spot with Tatiana. In a twist, Tatiana frees Lisa and hands her a bracelet that belonged to her deceased daughter. Martin then gives Sasha the keys to his apartment along with the files. Just when it seems like they're safe, it turns into a trap. Sasha, hiding behind a car, shoots one of Tatiana's goons. Tatiana turns on Martin and shoots him in the stomach after he hands over the files. But before Tatiana can finish Sasha off, Lisa grabs her father's gun and shoots Tatiana right in the head. Just then, Trevor and the other agents show up. In a desperate move, Sasha takes the case and leaps off a bridge, hitting the water below. However, she's been shot, leaving everyone unsure of her fate. Fast forward a few months, and we see Lisa visiting her dad in prison. She's been living with a new family, but still makes time to see him regularly. During one of these visits, she encounters Trevor and gives him a copy of the files, hinting that the case was hidden. In exchange for this information, she demands that he leave her and Martin alone. The plot thickens when we find out that Sasha actually survived the fall and shared the files online, igniting massive protests across Russia. She even gets invited to a talk show to discuss the importance of free speech. In a heartwarming moment, Martin and Lisa are about to close down their family restaurant when Sasha arrives for a surprise visit. But just when things seem to settle, we discover that a Russian agent is still on her trail.